Video today on basically tuning a 1911, or specifically a Range Officer 9mm Operator 1911. I had some issues with this out of the box when I purchased it, and I go by the Hilton Yam or the 10.8 performance test. I run all my 1911s through and then do whatever tweaking or tuning necessary to get those to pass. And if you're not familiar with that test, you can Google it or find it online as 10.8 performance reliability test or Hilton Yam reliability test. And what it does is when you run it through the test, it kind of tests individual components and makes sure they're in tune. And basically the theory behind it is if a 1911 will pass that test, then your chance of having a gun-related malfunction are decreased by quite a bit. And it just basically means every component's working the way it should, and not one part is relying on another part to handicap it in its cycle or whatever. So basically, what you do is you start off with a magazine. You can put one round in, or you can load it. Don't matter because you're going to pull this magazine out. But basically, this empty mag, empty gun. But what you would do is you would load one round, chamber one round, hold it with both hands, and fire with no magazine in it. Bang. What that'll do is it should clearly eject that round out. That empty should have a nice consistent pattern to it. Should kind of come out and eject about 3 or 4 feet from you. It shouldn't be really erratic. It shouldn't hit you in the face, and definitely shouldn't stovepipe. And that's what I was getting with this gun. I was getting stovepipes actually with just standard shooting right out of the box. I was getting a lot of stovepipes, and what that led to was a extractor didn't have quite enough tension on it, with the way the gun was shipped. And the more I read on it, actually a lot of these I guess got out that way. Even the combat operator, the one with the blue frame or whatever, that's got the tool steel inners and stuff. For some reason, this particular model was released with a lot of extractors with not enough tension on them. So basically, what you do is, like I said, you would load one round or a full magazine. It doesn't matter because you're going to take the magazine out. You load the round, you shoot, bang. You'd repeat that 8 times. Inserting in, loading a fresh round, pulling the magazine out, two-handed, 8 times. And if it does that consistently, then you'll do it again 8 times, one-handed. And what that's doing is kind of simulating a limp wrist, or just that you don't have as much pressure on the gun, that it's still going to clear and eject the way it should. And after you do that, then what you'll do is you'll take a completely full magazine, you'll put it in, you'll top it off. You load one in the chamber, then you top this magazine off so it's completely full again, and then you fire one round, bang. Do the same thing, top it off. Actually, with slide lock back, full magazine. Sorry, full magazine. Put it in. Use the slide stop, which isn't my preferred method of doing it, but it's part of the test. And what this is doing, when you eject it, you top it off for a completely full mag again. Fire one round, bang. Pull it out, top it off. Pull that round out. Put it in again, close it, fire it. And what that does is make sure you don't have too much tension. Because if you have too much, basically from slide stop, and you close it, it won't close all the way. So basically that tells you there's too much. So the first test, if there's not enough, it's not going to control that empty without the assistance of the magazine in it to kind of help keep it in the extractor and eject it. So after that, it also tells you if your spring tension's correct as well. These ship with like a 9-pound recoil spring, which to me is way too light. If you're shooting real light ball target ammunition, it could be fine. This is a carry gun on and off, so I shoot like 147 grain HSTs through it. So what I settled on after testing multiple springs, I get a correct ejection pattern and kind of a good middle line at a 12-pound veritable wolf spring. I went with the veritable. For some reason, 9mm, they work better. I usually don't use a veritable in a 45, but this particular one, research I shown, or that I looked into, everybody said use veritable. And when I did go to a 12-pound veritable, it'll actually run all the way to a 14-pound veritable. But I settled with a 12, so it would shoot ball ammunition and hollow points, equally well. Gives you a nice, good ejection pattern. The empties eject about 5 or 6 feet from me. They're not, going way far. If you're getting like 8 or 10 feet of ejection, it's too light of a spring, and what that's doing is kind of beating the frame up. So over time, it'll actually cause some issues from that that slide coming back and just slapping the frame, too hard. So, they do take a little bit of tuning. A 1911 does require, a little bit more care than, say, just an off-the-rack polymer striker-fired gun. But once they're tuned and you stay on top of them, then, they run just as good or just as well, I think. But they do require more maintenance. Obviously, more spring changes. I try to keep mine fairly clean, especially my carry guns are usually cleaned after every range visit if it's going to be carried. If it's not, if it's just kind of range toil, then it doesn't really matter. I'll fire 2 or 3 range sessions before I clean it up. But this gun shipped parkerized, and then I do Cerakote work, so I did the Cerakote on it. I just did it graphite black, the slide and all the small parts, did OD green on the frame, and all that did, it wasn't really necessarily the reliability enhancement by any means. It was just more of a finish wear, because it was going to be a carry gun. The parkerized finish does tend to wear faster and exposing metal, and you'll get some rust issues. But this gun here has been a great gun. After like I said, the tuning, I did end up eventually switching to a Wilson Combat bulletproof extractor, and then I just fit it. All I did is just had to adjust tension. I didn't actually have to file anything, or they come pretty much pre-filed. I just adjusted tension with the 10-8 performance test so it would pass it. I put a 10-8 rear sight on it because I do prefer the blacked out rear sights as opposed to the 3-dot that came on this gun. Comes with a fiber optic front, which is fine. I just melted a little more, make sure there's a nice, good push melt or whatever so that won't slide out. I run good magazines in it. These are Wilson Combats. I also use the new Chip McCormick's. The 10-round Chip McCormick's are a really good magazine. And I also use the Cobra Research magazines. But been a great gun. Like I said, did take a little tuning to get it to run reliably. It is a 70 series ignition system or whatever, as opposed to like Colt puts 80 series on a lot of those, as well as SIG and some other manufacturers. So there isn't the extra parts in there. So this firing pin is basically live at all times. There's no block in it, so just be kind of aware of that. They do run either extra power spring or titanium firing pin, so it's lighter, so if it's dropped on its muzzle, it won't have enough inertia to set the firing pin off. But great gun for the money. I have quite a few rounds this gun. There's probably about 1,800 rounds at last count through this gun. And after the initial malfunctions that I was having out of the box, once I got that fixed, probably in the first 200 rounds, I haven't had any malfunctions since. So it's probably been about 1,600 rounds flawless. And like I said, that was due to just it being shipped with not enough extractor tension. So like I said, once everything was in spec and everything was running right, this thing's been like baseball bat reliable. These are great guns for the money too. The Range Officer series, I generally think they start about $859, or they probably start about $800. The Operators are $850, $900, something like that is what you expect probably to walk into the gun shop and pay for them. Your area, they may be a little cheaper, a little more expensive, but somewhere in the ballpark of that. Great guns. They're fitted well. The safeties are fitted nice. This one I actually shaved when I was doing the Cerakote. I actually shaved the little hook off, and then I filed all the edges to kind of smooth it out because it kind of had like a little sharp hook that kind of came down that kind of bit my finger. So when you're constantly, doing holster cycles or whatever out on and off the safety, it was kind of irritating for my thumb. So I smoothed all that out. But like I said, the actual tension is great. I like a nice positive on-off tension. Trigger's good on these. The grip safety's fitted well. So there's nothing really that's a slouch on this gun as far as getting it and going, this ain't right, that ain't right, whatever. I mean, everything's fitted well. The barrel's fitted good. There's absolutely no movement in the barrel. The bushing is decently fit. It's not super tight. I mean, it's not like a less bare fit, but it's definitely a good fit. You can actually get it undone without tools or anything like that. Accuracy is great on this gun. I shoot this gun really well. A 9mm in a full size like this is a fun gun to shoot because it's just like almost hardly any felt recoil. This thing goes off so you can hold on target. You can double tap with it pretty fast and stay on target. The triggers on these, like I said, shipped. They got your little take up there, and once it's on the wall, there's almost no creep whatsoever. Reset, nice and positive. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but once you're at reset, Once again, just minimal amount of creep, but definitely an acceptable amount. I didn't do anything as far as polishing the trigger or anything like that. I did adjust the leaf spring a little bit to give me a little bit more positive reset and a little bit more positive on the grip safety. I like these to be kind of firm, so you actually have to grab them to engage it. But like I said, that was just little tweaks on the leaf spring back here. Nothing crazy. I did it all when it was apart for Cerakote. The magazine release, another test you can do is if you hold it all the way in, it should eject the magazine cleanly, and you shouldn't have to release it all on the magazine. Some will basically bind right here, and that's telling you that there's too much sticking into the mag well, and it's not fitted right. It needs to have a little bit of material taken off or whatever. But this one all the way in, it doesn't contact the magazine again, so that's all fitted right. So like I said, great gun for the money. I have a TRP as well, and I don't see a lot of difference as far as build quality between this and the TRP. And the TRP is almost pretty close to double what these cost. So great value for the money, guys. Unfortunately, if you're here in California, it's not on the roster, so it's not really an option as far as buying new. You'd have to look at one used, but they do make a version of this. They don't make the Operator, but they do make the like the Target model. It's all stainless and it has the adjustable rear sight. Basically same gun. It's the Range Officer. Same gun, just doesn't have the rail on the frame, and the rear sight's cut different. It's cut for the adjustable target sight, and it comes with a full one-piece or full-length guide rod. I don't know if it's two-piece or not, but it's full-length guide rod. But great guns, fun guns, man. For 9mm, they're cheaper to shoot. They're fun. The recoil is just almost non-existent. But great gun. Like I said, this actually been through a class. It was a one-day class. It was a low round count. I think it was a 250 round class, and it ran great. Shooting multiples, shooting double taps, tactical reloads, all that kind of stuff. Everything worked good on it, so completely happy with it. If you guys get a chance to try one or pick one up, or you've been looking for a 9mm 1911, definitely look into these for the money. I don't think you'll be disappointed. They're awesome guns, and you can even see the wear on the bushing's nice and even around the barrel where the contact points are. So like I said, great gun for the money, guys. Fitted really well. I highly recommend it. Alright, thanks for watching.